So, you know how we watched that video on, like, anime openings yesterday? That video I watched, even though there were parts of that video that were, like, just fine on YouTube, my stream got fucking claimed. So I've had to remove, like, random parts of that stream to be able to, like, download that video. Even though the video I watched was on YouTube and clearly wasn't claimed. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been available in my region. So, I don't understand how YouTube works. This site just does whatever the fuck they want. Yeah, yesterday. Yesterday, we watched a thing on anime openings towards the end of the stream. Raid Shadow Legends is below my lowest expectations. I have never played this game. I've never had any desire to play this game. I don't know anyone who has played this game, but I think everyone knows the game exists. I don't think there is a single person who is unaware of this game. And if you are, I don't know how you've managed to do that, because that's pretty impressive. Raid Shady Legends. Yes. Anyway. Raid Shadow Brodie. Now that's a game.
Raid sucks, Plarium sucks, don't play
What a start.
Raid sucks, Plarium sucks, don't play this game.
Okay.
See? Not sponsored. Now, a burning question that always comes up pertaining to the world of gacha games is how come Western developers don't make them? Well, in 2018, one brave developer had stepped up to...
Well, okay, no. There are plenty of Western gacha games. Counter-Strike. You know, the game that kinda, like... The game that kinda popularized it in the West. It is probably the biggest of the Western gacha games. It's just... Most of the Western gacha games, you're not rolling for characters. It's usually rolling for skins, rolling for weapons, rolling for random other shit. Because who wants to roll for, like, some random dude when you can roll for an anime girl? Of course you're gonna roll for the anime girl. Oh yeah, Diablo Immortal! But that was also made by a Chinese dev, so, bit different. Western IP made by a Chinese dev.
This stage. Raid Shadow Legends has taken the world by storm with its innovative gameplay, jaw-dropping graphics, and skill-oriented PvP.
Also, what I will say is the game has...
Raid is one of the graphics...
It just has collabs with random shit. Like, why is there a fucking Ninja Turtle collab? Why did that happen? I don't understand.
And skill-oriented PvP. Or so they say.
Skill.
Raid is one of those companies that ran a...
If I can buy power, the game does not have skill. Especially if it's a game that has an infinite power ceiling. Or effectively infinite. Like Diablo Immortal, where you can spend $300,000 on the game. If a game has a effectively infinite power system, there is no skill.
Guerrilla campaign on marketing spanning all the way back to 2018 when it launched. Still do, actually. They've reached out to me and a lot of other content creators numerous times. However, since it occurred to me that I've never explored the idea of how a Western dev would make a gacha game, I thought, why not give it a shot at least? Hi, my name is Psyche, and I'll be attempting to go into this with an open mind. Maybe there is something unique in Raid that other gacha games don't do.
Surely.
If the unthinkable happens and there are good qualities about the game, I'll point it out as well. If there aren't any other interruptions, let's play Raid Shadow Legends.
Wait, there actually is one good thing about the game.
If there aren't any other...
You know, maybe it's not all bad. Her face is a little cooked, but maybe it's not all bad.
Other interruptions? Let's play Raid Shadow Legends. First, I want to cover who created Raid Shadow Legends and the general perception around it. The company behind the game is Plarium Games, who has an extensive catalog of...
Okay, maybe it's a pretty good game. Yeah, maybe it is a pretty good game, actually.
titles, all meant for the mobile platform. From their official site, every game they have made is a free-to-download mobile game.
Of course
you can probably see where their priority lies.
F1.
Not really a surprise when you realize that they're a subsidiary of an adult gaming company. When I mean adult gaming, I'm referring to casinos and slot machines.
Oh.
Anyways, they spend a boatload of money marketing the game and sponsoring online creators. So this image comes from the YouTuber Rent's reviews, and allegedly they have offered mid to high-end YouTubers $1,600 for a 60-second integration. Now, I don't know about you, but that is basically the average income of a single paycheck for a lot of entry-level workers. And making all...
It depends on how big the channel is. It very much depends on how big the channel is. I can tell you for a fact that there are channels that have been offered far bigger numbers than that. I am not the channel, but there are people who've been offered $20,000+ to do an ad.
That in 1 minute sounds pretty good to me. And all you would have to do is pretend to like the game for 60 seconds. I'm sure your fans would understand. Plarium also does these deals where they get you to create a dedicated channel where you'll post nothing but raid content. You'll find dozens of these out there. Now, I'm not sure if these creators genuinely enjoy playing Raid, but you can see that every one of their videos are sponsored. Starting off, you have to download the Plarium Play launcher, otherwise you can't play on PC. Also, I never thought I'd see the day where I actually click on one of those affiliate links to get a head start. It's natural that they have these promo codes that get you free goodies in-game, so I tried entering one. It certainly worked. However, I learned that there is a 24-hour cooldown to enter a promo code. That's actually insane. I've never seen any mobile game have this weird barrier here. Anyways, what is the basic premise of Raid? Well,
they want you to get hooked on the game first.
An overarching story that follows a main protagonist, but the story content is basically just a narrator that details the journey of an unknown band of heroes as they adventure across the fictional land of Teleria. There are 12 chapters in the story, and I've gotten through the entire campaign on normal in the 2 weeks I spent. I gotta say,
wait.
For the entire...
Oh, of course it has an energy system. Oh, my favorite mobile game system. So I'm guessing, okay, this is your energy system. This is probably your in-game currency, and this is your premium currency. That would be my guess.
Entire campaign on normal in the 2 weeks I spent. I gotta say, the story presentation is just non-existent.
I love the generic font they use. Like, it doesn't even fit in with what the game is. Like, the epilogue, the light of Lumaya. It's just like fucking Times New Roman.
I gotta say, the story presentation is just non-existent. It's a static image of a picture on a parchment illustration, and the narrator briefly explains what's happening. No central protagonist, no character sprites or animated cutscenes. It's as barren as it gets. The champion's lore is dumped as paragraphs.
Imagine that the... What? Wait, why did you delete that message?
Of text on the side. The official channel does post occasional lore videos.
Just Roboto?
Why not just put them in the actual game?
Yeah.
If you want players to care about the...
Imagine that all that money spent for mobile games we spent on PC console games. Yeah, do you know who's doing it? China. China, like, there's some amazing games coming out of China. I think the China, like, what's happening is, I think they're starting to realize that the gacha market is very saturated. So they're actually starting to fund single-player games. Because for a long time, you were just getting nothing but gacha games. And now the problem is, there is enough gacha games. There's only so many people in that market, and there's only so much money to go around. So how do you make more money? Well, you take all that tech you built, making shitloads of money on gacha games, and now start making good single-player games. And all of a sudden, you have a whole new market of people who want really good anime games.
World building, wouldn't it be a better idea to just integrate it into the game's actual story? It's like they innately understand that people aren't playing this for the story, so the content for it is just an afterthought. After all, at its core, in gacha games, the story doesn't sell. The characters do. Okay, so what about the actual story levels themselves? Well, it seems that it's just a repeating pattern of 3-wave enemies with the exact same layout every time.
I haven't checked out Stranova. I feel like that name's ringing a bell. Stranova. Oh, Oh, this one. No, I haven't. I'm not a big shooter guy at this point. Are there any good mobile games? Yes. Android GBA emulator. Visual Boy Advance. There's your good mobile game. Or, I don't know, aren't the early Final Fantasy, the early Final Fantasy games available on Android at this point? Go play, like, FF7 or something. Is FF7 available? If it's not, go play some of the older ones. I'm pretty sure there's mobile ports for the older games. Slay the Spire is on mobile. Go play Slay the Spire.
For a boss challenge at the end of the chapter. No cinematic intros, no visual spectacles in the fights, nothing particularly memorable except that the boss enemy is just another oversized HP bar. You'll bring champions of varying rarity into a level.
Yeah, I know I play Marvel Rivals.
Depends on the level type. Everyone's got a normal attack and a few skills that can be used on cooldown.
Look at this fucking rain
Every
effect.
unit has a turn meter determined by their speed stat. It's the most generic turn-based system out there. You can also just put the game on 2x speed and on auto mode.
Of course you can.
Let me be clear about something. Raid is an auto battler game. I have no problems with it being an auto battler game. Idle games have existed and there are people that enjoy it. I mean, just look at Cookie Clickers. It's one of the most successful ones to date. It's addicting watching numbers go up. Here's where I draw the line though. The thing about these games with mostly vertical progression is that when you monetize it, it's super easy to sell things to you where you can see its benefits. The gameplay is not what I have problems with. It's how the game uses its gameplay as a means to monetize. If you pay money and get a stat boost to your champion, then use them in a level, then you can easily tell that the money is what got you over that barrier.
Yep.
The simplistic nature of its gameplay plays to that advantage here. And I suspect that was the reason for choosing this design for its gameplay. Aside from the story mode, there are also many other modes where you can farm materials or engage in other types of content. To my knowledge, in the unlikely scenario that you want to play Raid, joining a decent clan seems to be fairly beneficial. Some of the raids and farming stages are only available on certain days of the week. This is of course time-gated content to artificially limit your progress and reinforce you to log in on select days. Classic practice in a mobile game. There are also arena modes where there's offline PvP and live ones. You have to be a higher level to unlock it, and I imagine that assuming both players have the same lineups and are similar of skill level, there are likely going to be some strategizing involved. So it's not all just a mindless numbers game. However, once we talk about how to make champions stronger, the concept of fair play will become but a distance.
Oh my god, yeah, yeah, here we go. Now we're in the real money sing.
Likely gonna be some strategizing involved, so it's not all just a mindless numbers game.
So what's happening here is you can upgrade your gear. I've seen this system in so many other games. You're upgrading your gear, but there is a chance for the upgrade to fail. And the higher level your gear gets, the lower the chance of success is. I know what this system is. There is a reason I don't play things like Black Desert. There's a reason I don't play Lost Ark. This is the reason.
However, once we talk about how to make champions stronger, the concept of fair play will become but a distant dream. We've talked about the Raid, but where are the Shadow Legends? Champions are split into many rarities. You can level them by simply beating levels with them, or you can use other champions as fodder or dedicated XP items. There are 3 elements in the game that deal advantage...
And let me guess, the higher tier they are, the better they are. Do you know what I like about Fate Grand Order? For all the problems the game has, there actually have been meta characters that have been common characters. Yes, most of the really good characters are like your like, you know, I can't remember, it's used like a UR system, a star system, I don't remember. It's your high tier rare characters, but there have been like meta characters that are like very common. And I don't know if it's intentional, but it does feel nicer.
Damage to another, with the 4th being neutral. You can also increase the star level of the champion by sacrificing other champions of the same star level, or also increase the star level of the champion by sacrificing...
Yep, of course you can. Of course you can.
other champions at the same star level were these turkey items. You can further ascend the champions for every star they have, with these taking the potion currency from in the time-gated levels, where not all of them will be unlocked every day. You can also farm scrolls to get passive perks where not all of them are...
Again, another very common thing in these games, you have like 7 different progression systems. So you have the ability to like merge your characters together to get higher tiers, then there's a passive system, then there's some other system.
Or will be unlocked every day. You can also farm...
And the thing about the real thing about these games is oftentimes low-level players and like free players don't even know that systems exist because they're not paying money to interact with the complex systems. Like Diablo Immortal, you can socket gems into your gems, but like it's very important to worry about the kinds of gems you get, and then like these games are, they're just like an endless rabbit hole of how do you spend as much money as possible.
Scrolls to get passive perks in 3 skill trees, though these will take quite a while to get everything.
Of course they will,
you can also level their skills using the skill books, which are also given out in limited quantities. Now, there's a couple of sets of gear you can slap.
And you can upgrade your gear as well. Let me guess. The gear also have stars, so you can probably merge the gear together. They have colors as well, so you can really merge them together to get higher colors, and then merge them together to higher star counts. And then there's probably like another upgrade system for them.
On them. There are 6 artifact slots, and the sets all need a certain amount of the same equipment in the same set to activate its bonuses. The gear levels can be upgraded with substats unlocked at certain level thresholds. You use the common currency silver to upgrade it.
Okay,
Sounds
that's
easy
your free
so
currency.
far until you learn that this is one of those gearing systems where the upgrade can fail. So you just waste the silver and have to keep trying until you succeed. This means that if you wanted to max out each piece of gear...
I don't even have to play this game to know every single system in the game. Every single one of these games is the exact same thing.
Should be expected to spend millions of silver. The problem here is that the game doesn't tell you what the chance of success is. It just displays high, medium, or low.
I will say at least Lost Ark will tell you how much your chance of wasting your money is. I will at least grant it that. I think Black Desert does the same.
This paves the way for Plarium to change the rates on the sly, and players wouldn't even know what's behind the scenes. If players are winning the rolls too fast and progress too quickly without spending much silver, well, they can just simply rig the odds. There's also accessory slots where you have to match up the faction of the champion and reach certain star thresholds.
And they have the exact same upgrade system
before they can be equipped. I don't think I have the patience to stick around to find out, but there's an additional gear slot for something.
Of course there is. Of course there is. Again, this is one of those systems where you don't even interact with it until you're already deep into the game.
Called the Relic, that I presume will expand the grind even more. This is not including another passive called Blessing that's unlocked later. Literally layers upon layers of complexity for Raid's gearing system.
Yep.
Now, the closest comparisons for the gearing system will be Epic 7 or Brown Dust 2. Believe me, the only thing stopping me from enjoying these
However, what I will say about Brown Dust, look, we can talk shit about these gacha games. At the very least, Brown Dust, they know who their target audience is. If you may have seen this this video floating around of the 3D billboard with an anime girl. This was Brown Dust. At the very least, you get sexy anime girls, so you know, there's something there.
Games are the gearing system. I like my character upgrades to be as straightforward and seamless as possible.
Yeah, Brown Dust is like pushing the limits of what you're allowed to get away with on the Play Store. Like, you know how Shift Up was doing that with Booty Game. Why am I blanking on the name? Bouncy Booty Game. Fuck. What was the game called? Nikkei, yes, that one. Yeah. Brown Dust is taking it so much further. No, not Senron. No.
This just ain't it. Pretty much every single upgrade item in the game is either time-gated or requires stamina to farm. Speaking of which, there's a stamina system with the cap increasing when your player level goes up. However, there is no sweep feature in this game. You have to manually run through each level over and over if you want its drops. There is a super raid checkbox where you can run the level once with double stamina and double rewards. There's also a multi-farm feature where the game can farm a level over and over for you. Okay, so that's at least better than nothing, right? So what's the catch? Well, the catch is pretty hefty. You're limited to 30 multi-farm attempts every day. Why is that? Well, that's because the game can sell more attempts back to you via the raid card system. By paying $10 a month, you get more XP and silver from battles.
Oh, there's a subscription fee as well. Oh, then this is a requirement if you wanna actually play the game seriously. Of course.
And 70 additional daily multi-battle attempts. Now, when I was prompted to see what the raid card was all about, the game displayed that this purchase had to be bought on a mobile device, which confused me. Quite a...
that's... Why would that be the case?
Weird restriction. I mean, what's even the reason for that? I saw the same thing in Netmarble's solo leveling a Rise gacha game, except I never really gave it much thought. So, I dug a little deeper. You know when you buy the monthly pass in a gacha game, the game will warn you when your pass is nearly up, so you can buy a new fresh batch from the shop? Well, the reason that the raid card has to be bought on a mobile device is that it will use Apple or Google's payment system to classify it as a subscription, meaning that...
Yup, that's about right.
But it will auto-renew itself every month. If you forgot to cancel the auto-renewal, that's too bad. I'm guessing they just couldn't figure it out on the PC version, or were just too lazy to implement it. So Plarium can't benefit off your late subscription fees, and they just can't have that. Anyways, this is the very definition of create the problem, sell the solution. This will be a recurring thing once we look at more of the game.
Oh, is that a battle pass?
Sell the solution.
Yep, that's a battle pass. Of course it is.
This will be a recurring thing once we look at more of the
yep, and that's the other thing.
Sell the solution.
Yep, so you have your free track, and then you have your advanced track. Of course you do. Again, every single one of these games is the exact same thing.
This will be a recurring thing once we look at more of the game, but at least the game does display it's got a background farming feature unlocked late into a player's progression, so at least you can do that. Well, not unless you want to play other modes while background battle is happening. According to forum users and other videos, once the background battling session starts, you can't play the vast majority of the other game modes, rendering background farming essentially useless. Now we take a look at...
No, you do it overnight. No, you don't understand. You background farm when you're not playing the game, right? So you play the game during the day, and then overnight you let it background farm, so you never leave the game.
The unholy abomination that is the gacha system. Instead of a premium currency to pull on a gacha banner, you have to open these shards to recruit a champion. They have their own rarity ranges, so you're never going to be getting a legendary from one of these green crystals. For my 2 weeks of playing, I got a decent amount of greens, a few blues, 1 rare, and 0 characters past that rarity except for the...
This is even worse than a gacha system, like a a Chinese gacha game. At least in a Chinese gacha game, you can roll a banner and you can get anything in the banner. Now, you're probably not going to get a high-level character, but to split the banner into tiers is fucking diabolical. That is insane levels of gating. What the fuck? So the free shards you get, you can't even get a legendary character. You need to get the other ones. And then there's like a tier above that, mythical, and that this probably costs you real money. Or you get like 1 every month or something.
Greens, a few blues, 1 rare, and 0 characters past that rarity except for the free Michelangelo given out from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles collab. The game may also advertise that you can get free codes for free collab legendaries, except these are only available to new players, and you may only use 1 of them. Now, you do get a few free legendaries from the progression tracks, and there's a fusion mechanic where you can fuse certain rare characters when you have enough of the base material. Worth mentioning that there is a more traditional gacha system when you reach the endgame, with the chances of certain mythic characters have a 2.5% drop chance, with a pity kicking in after 24 pulls.
24 pulls? That's on the lower side, but it's not crazy. Also, only the paid tiers have progressive chance, aka granting higher tier rewards that most legal scene and gachas are forced to grant.
Going back to the mystery shards, I was surprised to find that the game does indeed list its internal rates.
Yeah, because they're required to by law. That's why. No other reason why. I believe it is... Was it Europe that brought these in? I don't remember. This has been like a thing they've had to do for a while now. And all of the gacha games do this now.
As the majority of shards you get are the common ones, you'll mostly be getting the fodder 1 and 2 stars. Even the higher tiers given out way less frequently don't have good odds. As you can see, the game really doesn't want you getting the rarest characters. The Void Affinity champions have their own...
Wait. So the highest tier ones don't even... That's fucking cooked. Wait!
Higher tiers given out way less frequently don't have good odds.
So, there is a, like, high tier one, and this will give you... This will give you a 6% chance of getting a legendary, but it doesn't include mythicals. So you can increase your drop rate to get legendaries, but if you want to get the highest tier, you have to roll at a 0.5% chance with an 82.5% chance of getting a rare. So, oh my god, this is evil. This is actually fucking evil. So you have to use the less efficient system, which means you're mostly going to get characters you don't want if you want to get the highest tier.
The game really doesn't want you getting the rarest characters.
This game.
The Void Affinity champions have their own shards as they're seen as more elusive and rare. A pity system exists here as well, but again, the soft pity kicks in at
200? What? What the fuck kind of pity is that?
75 pulls for epic characters and 200 for legendary. I should mention that during the 2 weeks I played, the income I got shards higher than blues were extremely limited. This means you have no predictable income of these, if free-to-plays are handed out much at all. If you take a look at the entire roster, there are a lot of rare characters. It just feels like you're getting shafted by every angle unless you pay for more shards. You're stuck on the bottom rung of the ladder unless you open up your wallet. My first impression is that this is one of the most unfriendly gachas I've seen in this genre. And we haven't gotten to the cash
Yeah,
up,
and you get to
so
roll.
This is one of the most
It's like, you get a horribly unfriendly gacha.
unfriendly gachas I've seen in this genre.
And you get some fucking bulb dude. Who the fuck is playing this game?
And we haven't gotten to the cash shop yet. There are multiple menus to track your daily and weekly missions, and even a timer system where you get rewards just for playing for longer. I am insane and decided to play for 2 hours on certain days, and overall found that the game at this point is massive, requiring you to participate in multiple game modes. Unlike some other daily missions in gacha games, the daily system is quite strict, as it wants you to do every single task on the list to get the final reward. The game
Yup.
throws so many flash sales at you that at times it actually feels unplayable. They're so intrusive that you have a difficult time navigating around the menus without one popping up to tell you of the value you're missing out. Going into the cash shop feels like...
You know how people joke about Ubisoft constantly putting cash shops in front of you? Sorry, EA putting cash shops in front of you? This is what people joke about with EA. This is the game they joke about.
Like stepping into a whole new dimension. One of the main issues I have with the game is that certain progression materials aren't farmable. and you have to wait for the game to drip feed it to you or just get more with real money. Say that I wanted to use the champions I do have to build a team with whatever I got. Since it's super unreliable to get rare characters as a free-to-play, you have to make do with their low rarity grunts. However, to upgrade their star level, you have to dump more XP into them, and you need other champions of the same rarity as well. We'll use the turkey token thing. You really don't get a lot of these, so this avenue on how you can progress the account is just blocked by a hard gate unless you wait for the game to give you more or pay up. There is also the premium currency gems, which again, you only get at controlled amounts. There is a mines tab in the main menu where once unlocked, you get a small steady supply of gems.
Yep, but let me guess, it costs you all of the gems you would get in, like, your first month of playing.
Unfortunately for you, the mines has to be unlocked by gems themselves. How ironic. There's also a feature where your characters can be passively leveled just by placing them in the slot and waiting in real time. Unfortunately for you, if you want to be more efficient with more slots, you gotta pay gems as well. As you can see, there are a few quality of life features in the game.
Also, this says 1 every 4 hours and 48 minutes. So let's just do the maths here. So what is that? 4 hours, 4 times 60. So that is 288 minutes. So 288 times by 300, that's 86,400, divided by 60, that's 1,440. So 1,440 divided by 24, that is 60 days. You know, this feels like a random number, but knowing that cleanly goes into 60 days, I know this number was perfectly thought out. There is no way this just accidentally works out to be 60 days. No chance whatsoever.
Game, except you just don't get to access them for free. I'll save you the ramble with the cash shop at this point, but you can imagine that it's one of the most egregious I've seen. Mountains upon mountains of shortcut packs, resource packs, beginner packs, and others. Now, to be honest, all this I can maybe
8,000% value?
Stomach. Where I seriously draw a line when...
Wait, let me guess. They're not clean.
Now, to be honest, all this I can maybe stomach. Where I seriously...
And let me guess, you can't buy them in clean packs as well, because you never can.
Draw a line when it comes to monetization in gacha games is that major quality of life features should never be...
Primal Shard Pack. Oh, and you... Why do they limit you per month? That's interesting. I wonder if they limit you per month if you're not subscribed, and if you subscribe, you get more. This seems weird. The fact that they're... Oh, that's why. No, I understand. No, because you can buy the bigger pack. I missed that. So... You're limited to 5 per month of the cheaper pack. But if you buy the big pack, there's no limit. This game, man, it does every single fucking thing.
Be paywalled. Why pay for more multi-battle attempts when you can just sweep levels for free like a normal gacha game? It's so clear that Raid puts in numerous artificial barriers in the gameplay experience and progression to sell you the solution. Let's also talk about presentation. While Eastern gacha games make their gacha characters as attractive as they can be, apparently Western players are more interested in smelly orcs and lizard people. Oh wow, I got a new champion. I bet they're gonna look so cool. Even the champions with humanoid appearances have static facial animations.
Unless they're a legendary.
Pales in comparison to what's out on the market right now. Granted, the most recent models look decent enough, except their attack animations is just very uninspiring. Usually, character trailers in gacha games use their in-game models to show their looks and gameplay, but not here. I suspect that's the reason that the game uses CGI for its character trailers. Given that these animated trailers are meant to advertise the champion with flashy visuals and expressive movements, they minimize the use of actual in-game footage because it just looks shit in comparison. A few years ago, the popular streamer Ninja even got featured as a champion
Fortnite
in-game,
Ninja
back when he was still on the top of his game. If you take a look at the trailer, can you take a wild guess what Ninja looks like in the game? The UI is cluttered, uninspiring, and follows no distinct theme. If the lore of the game takes place in a fantasy setting, then why not use a fantasy-esque font or stylize the buttons as so?
Never.
Other auto-battlers in the gacha genre, like Memento Mori, use a watercolor style for its menu.
See, like, look, we can talk shit. Also, it has the exact same... It's a different font, but it's the exact same interface. I can already tell you how this game works. I don't even need to play the game. I can already tell you how it works. It's the exact same fucking thing. But, like, at least the Eastern gacha games, they look good. They have style. They have flair. I don't know why anyone plays Raid.
Art, and it's clear that it's got a creative identity. The layout and UI of Raid is as mobile game as it gets. It also pulls the trick of letting you know when another player got a rare character.
Black Desert does the same thing. Lost Ark does the same thing. You gotta make sure there's FOMO. Gotta let the entire server know when someone does something that costs a lot of money.
It's kind of like how someone might think their chances of winning the lottery is higher when they see another person winning it over the news. Just because you see the lucky 0.1% doesn't mean your chances of pulling the rarer characters will increase. And the activity in World Chat is nothing but bots spamming links to their top-up sites. To be fair enough, this game does have a player base that plays it regularly. I'm sure if you really get into it, there are complexities in team archetypes and gameplay strategy.
Surely.
If you had to ask, I think if you try really hard, you can still have some fun in Raid. Assuming you're okay with playing another generic auto...
Yeah, here's the thing though. Why would I have fun in this game? Why would I have fun in this game when I can play literally anything else? And not even, like, buying a game, right? Like, why would I ever play this when I could download, I don't know, Honkai, or Genshin, or Brown Dust, or Nikkei, or fucking just pick a game? Why would anyone... Why?
Battler.
And all of those games have horrible systems as well, but they are nothing in comparison to this.
Nothing about it stands out, and from where I see it, you can easily find another game out there that puts higher effort into it and doesn't put as many artificial restrictions as Raid. Now, I've seen a lot of predatory games at this point, but never did I think I'd see something as appalling as this. Raid Shadow Legends is creatively bankrupt, and the only goal I can see that it's trying to achieve is to hunt for the whales that will continuously fund their ventures. Every step of the way, I was bombarded with flash sales, complex gearing systems, and artificial barriers that halted my progression. The most impressive thing it's able to achieve is that I literally can't come up with a single positive thing to say about it. The sole reason why they push marketing so hard is to gather those few but valuable whales to join their ecosystem. Now that I look at it, maybe it's for the best that gacha games are more of an Eastern developer thing. If you wonder why the West never got into the same genre, now you know. Anyways, thank you for tuning into this brief...
See, I made fun of the fact that CS has a lot of gacha, but at least CS is a good game, right? There is not, like... Yes, Counter-Strike is, like, full of, like, you know, the whole crate system in Counter-Strike is nonsense, but you never have to interact with it. So, like, yes, it's insane, and yes, it has, like, a $5 billion market cap, but at least you never have to do it. That is the game. The game is your wallet.
Review of Raid Shadow Legends. So let me know what you think. It's certainly one of the gacha games of all time, and I'm curious if anyone has actually played it extensively. Once again, appreciate you for watching, and if you want to go the extra mile, you can support for what I do.
Join my creator code.
$2 a month
play Raid Shadow Legends.
If you want to catch more gacha-related content like this, you know what to do.
This video is sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends.
And always remember, have fun out there.
What a garbage game. I don't know why anyone would play that. There's so many good free games out there. Why would anyone play this one? Go play fucking Fortnite. I don't know. Pick something. Pick something that is not this. Utter peak garbage. Yes. Fully agreed. Fully agreed.